A very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Our last session, we were discussing about an introduction to, or we started with the roles and responsibilities. And our roles and responsibilities, make suring, delivering the live application to the users. And while delivering the live application, you need to ensure always that application is running very well. And as well as the developers is going to do the continuous development, by the way. Now you need to take the code from them, like as an engineer. Now you're going to take that and deploy it into the servers without any downtimes. And also once after release the application also, you need to ensure that the servers are always running well and good, by the way. Right. So from there, we're actually, talked about, so the servers is an important thing, so that we wanted to understand the server. And because end of the day, this is the place where you are going to run the things. And that is where, we talked about servers and the server operating system. Now we went with certain history and discussed the Linux is one of the widely used operating system around the servers. And in that also, you have a strict thin line between Red Hat and Debian. Especially when you go with the enterprise world, it's going to be a Red Hat distribution, no doubt in that. So that's what we decided, and we wanted to go with Red Hat, by the way. And in Red Hat also, you have multiple versions. Red Hat 8 and Red Hat 9 is the one which you have. 9 is the latest version, so we're going to learn the Red Hat 9, by the way. Okay. And so now way to practice this Red Hat 9 is another thing which we discussed, by the way. So which we wanted to take AWS, but maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will try to get onto Amazon. But however, before to that, we wanted to still practice Linux, by the way. And that's where Killer Coda is the place that we are going to use it. Right now, the Killer Coda is mentioned in the GitHub link. I know yesterday we couldn't able to share this particular link, but actually I have added this particular links to YouTube description. If not, also by end of the session it will be done. So just check the video description on YouTube. You'll find this link, or else again I'm keeping on the chat right now. So please bookmark this particular URL. So this is anyhow going to be same across the training, by the way. Okay. So I'm just pasting it on the chat. So please do, everyone. So save this particular link. And over here, you have a Killer Coda link, so which you can open it. So to get onto the Killer Coda. All right. So in Killer Coda, we have we have two courses, by the way, in the link which is given. Okay. In this particular link. The first one is the one which we are going to talk about. And yesterday we already had a quite introduction to the Linux, like how the Linux will be. So until there, we have discussed in yesterday's session. So today we're going to continue from there. All right, let's get it started. So now when you actually open it, it generally asks for, integration. You can click on Google. Okay. So, and then it automatically takes your Google login and do that. I'm just going to use GitHub, by the way. So any login is okay. All right. So it does some job, by the way. Don't worry about this one. Okay. So let it do its job. You will understand slowly what is this command is really doing in one day. Okay. So during the training, when we talk about Docker and all. So here we're just setting up the environments, by the way. So this Killer Coda guy will not provide you the Red Hat environment. So those guys will provide Ubuntu environment, but we want Red Hat environment. So that's where we just bring in the Red Hat environment. So that's it, nothing more than that. Okay, over here, by the way. So we're just bringing in the required environment here, and you'll get it. And this session is going to be active for 60 minutes only, but that's not a problem at all because it's not a live machine. You're not going to lose anything. Okay. Don't worry about that particular part. Okay. Later, anyhow, after a couple of days, we are going to go for Amazon Web Services. So that time we'll be going with our own servers. And so nothing that you would be losing. All right. So no worries on that particular part. And yesterday I have been talking about the command line introduction, by the way. In the command line, so in the command line, you're going to execute some commands, and those commands may have some options. Option can change the behavior. And sometimes you may have some inputs, by the way. You need to provide an input. For an example, I want to create a file. I need to tell what file name to create. I want to add a user. I want to I want to tell which user to add. Input. Okay. So that is also something that you need to do. So that's what is the command line introduction. And now we are going to start learning the commands. And the commands, what we are going to talk about is the commands which is going to be generally used in our day-to-day life. Okay. And also, okay, Linux is a very important thing that you should learn, by the way. And I mean, and in Linux, like, how much Linux to learn is a big question. Okay. So, and this is a tricky question to answer as well. How much Linux? Now, if you spend next 2, 3 years also, you can continuously learn Linux. There's no ending also. Okay. So it can continuously go on. Okay. That big Linux is. Now you start learning Windows also, 2, 3 years will happen. Right? Windows operating system also is a vast operating system. Now Windows, that everyone have a confidence that does you know every option in Windows? The answer is no. Now let's say I'm using Mac OS. Do I know every option in Mac OS? The answer is no. But did I know Mac OS? Yes, I know Mac OS. Am I not doing my job? Yes, I'm doing my job. The same like Windows. Like Windows. Are you not using Windows operating system? Yes, you are using Windows operating system. Don't you know Windows? You also know Windows. But what you know what you need, isn't it? The Linux also is the same thing, by the way. It's an operating system. You will know what you need to know. Okay. So a lot of confusion here, by the way. So Linux you should know very good. Yes, answer is very good, but how much very good is a question. Okay. So you need to keep the strict boundary on that particular one, because um, we always think about ROI, okay, return on investment. Now, maybe you're investing in this particular course, you expect some outcome, right? So generally, right, you're investing time and money, you expect some income, right? So generally on learning's perspective also, you need to keep some sort of ROI. I don't say that everything should be looked in ROI, but to certain extent, you also need to think in that particular mindset, by the way. Now you're learning Linux, how much return you get it? Now you spend 1 month on learning Linux versus you spend only 1 week, 1.5 week on Linux. Now the remaining time you learn something which is more, okay, more native towards the DevOps, that can give you a better returns than this. Okay. So at the same time, we are not saying that don't go and learn Linux. So what I'm saying is, to an extent, what you need in day-to-day activities will be taught in this particular first week. Of this whole first week is going to be Linux. But going forward, in some places, we need some more concepts. We'll talk about that at this point of time. Some X will be coming into picture. Now, you need to bother about remaining a lot of things which is out there in the Linux operating system. So you will never end up. Now, you take a typical operating system also, you will come up with at least minimum 1,000 to 1,500 commands, you will get it. Bare minimum operating system. You take also, you will get 1,000 to 1,500 commands. Now, learning them itself will take a year for you. Okay, it is not needed. And because end of the day, what you do with by learning it? Nothing, right? So that is where to really waste time around this, I'm consciously telling these particular statements. Okay, don't waste your time on Linux. Learn Linux as an operating system. Windows you are managing to an extent. Windows you don't know each and every option. Linux also you shouldn't know. You shouldn't, or you don't need to learn each and every option. But learn what is needed. Don't compromise on that. Okay. So that is how it is. And sometimes my maybe like so in the scenarios, like outside world may have million scenarios, but that scenario may not be covered in our training. But you should be in a position to understand that particular scenario and try to understand so how to use it. And maybe let at least you should be in a position to start opening the internet, start reading about it, which is very important. Okay, it is very, very important. All right. So okay. So you should be not wasting time around Linux, but we will learn Linux. And always be with Linux. Like, I mean, when you have some new ideas, think about it, read about it, and that's it. Like, to really, bag everything in the starting of the sessions itself, or everything, to bag, by the way. I think I mostly set the context here. And any questions or any other opinions before starting the actual commands on this? So procedure is always same. You'll be raising your hand or click on raise hand option if you have any questions. Cool. Taking it as no. So moving on. Now we are going to learn some commands, and before learning the commands, we should understand how your Windows is, and let's compare that with Linux, by the way. Okay. So here, Windows. In Windows, typically your operating system is like this. Okay. Um, Maybe you have C drive. Okay, C drive has multiple folders. Is what I'm talking about. Now, do we know each and every folder which is available here? Maybe not. So many of them we don't know. Okay. Now the Linux is also the same thing. By the way, there'll be many things which sometimes you need not to bother as well. All right, but still, okay. So, but still, if you really want to learn about the Linux directory structure, it is not the directory structure like Windows way. So Linux has some standard directory structure for standard purposes. Now, what are those, by the way? If you want to really, read it out, please spend some maybe half an hour on your free day and just read about it. Okay, not mandatory, I would say, but maybe one day, half an hour you want to spend. So probably you can just explore. All right. So now let's compare that with Linux, by the way. Now here in Windows, let's say if you install some program called as Firefox. Firefox is a browser. Now, if you install Firefox, where it will install C drive program files, it will install, right? Now it will create one folder called as Firefox, and it is going to keep all the files of Firefox inside this. But coming to the Linux, by the way, so Linux will, if you try to install Firefox, it is going to keep the different files in different standard directories, which is there. Okay. So which you have is, so some /bin for binaries, /etc for configurations, /lib for libraries. Okay. It is going to distribute across, standard directories. Now here, so now Windows is respecting or Windows is actually making the software path, and it is getting installed everything in one path. Now Linux is the other way. Okay, you install any software, it just try to distributes across the OS, by the way. So OS have some standard directories. This directory for this purpose, this directory for this purpose. Okay, I'm using a word called as directory. Directory is nothing but called as folder. Don't confuse. Directory, folder is the same thing. Like Windows you call folder, Linux we call it as directories. Okay, so now you have different directories, by the way. It is going to distribute across different directories. So the same software. Now this is how the Linux and Unix works, by the way. So it's again the inspired from Unix world, right? So Unix worked this way, and Linux is also working the same manner. Actually, Windows is a later operating system, and they came up with this, so alternate to that approach. And again, both has its own pros and cons. We don't want to talk about that, but at this point of time, so this is how it will do. So that means you're going to have so a standard directory structure. Okay, so you are going to have a standard directory structure for different purposes, and all this directory structure, so in your Windows, where is it actually going to start? It starts all the time from C drive, right? Where your root of your operating system will install C drive, and the root of Linux operating system will start at /, which is called as root directory. Okay, it is again inspired again from the tree kind of a concept. Now, if you take a tree, so tree we call it up. Now general tree only. If you take a tree, by the way, so the tree starts at a root of something, right? So it starts with one main root will be there for the tree, and that root is called as // We also called as root directory. So slash is called as a root directory. Okay, so slash is called as a root directory. Slash is called as a root directory, and so it is the starting point in Linux. Okay, it is a starting point in Linux. Everything starts here. Okay, so in Windows, everything starts at C drive. So here at slash directory. And also, if you have observed, by the way, so a couple of other things. And in C drive, you have your own structure, like, C drive program files, C drive documents and settings, C drive Windows. Okay, different things are there. It will come on Windows, you have again subdirectories, program files, you have another directories, documents and settings, you'll be having another directories, users, you have C drive like this, right? Generally. And the same way, okay, Linux also, you have different directories under slash for different purpose. Now, in Windows, you use backslash. In Linux and Unix, you use forward slash. Okay. So in Windows, you use backslash. Windows command prompt, if you use, so if you see Windows anytime, so they are using backslash, referring the directories. Okay. So, but in Linux, we are going to use forward slashes. In Linux, we have a root directory where the path of any directory start here. A simply forward slash is called as root directory. Okay. Now in Linux, it is preferred not to give any spaces in the file names, by the way, or folder names. It is not at all preferred to give spaces in the file names and the directory names you are going to create. In Windows, it is there. So here, alternatively, what do we use is we use a delimiting between word to word, maybe an underscore or hyphen or something like that. But we don't create spaces in the folder names, by the way, or file names. So just keep that also in mind. And another important thing is Windows is actually going to be a case insensitive file system. So that means if I create a file name called as, here, let me just, if I create a file name called as file, like let's say sample, okay, and another file name, just as an example, another file name, sample. Now, what is the difference? Case sensitivity, right? So case, one file name is using uppercase, one file name is using lowercase, by the way. Okay. Now, now in Windows, okay, this is same, by the way. Okay. In Windows, this is same. Windows, you can't have this. Windows, you cannot create this. Only one file is possible. But Linux is not like that. Okay, Linux, it is possible. Okay, so Linux can create these two files. Okay, so that means pretty simple, by the way. So the Linux is a case sensitive operating system or file system, we generally call it as operating system. Let's go by that way. So, and whereas Windows is not. Okay, that is also one thing that you can. So here it is possible. Now, don't bother about what I'm doing. So I will just do like this and do like this. In Windows also, you can give a try. Like I have one file sample and sample. Maybe if you have Windows machine, later you can give a try. That you can right click, try to create a new file, create one file name called as sample.txt. And after that, try to create a capital sample.txt. It will not allow you to do that. Okay, you can take a look later. All right. So this is what is some important points that you need to understand. In Linux, we're going to use forward slashes. In Linux, everything starts under slash directory that is called as a root directory, because tree root, it's where it starts, the same root context. And in Linux, it is preferred to not to give any spaces. Don't give any spaces. And in Linux, by the way, you can create multiple files with the same file name if the case is different. File name is different with cases as well. Okay. So with this particular introduction, so let's get on to the Linux. First command we are going to talk about is if I want to, okay, so now I opened a terminal, basically I logged into a server. I opened the terminal. In Windows, maybe what it will do is you have a Windows like this. Maybe I also have some file explorer. So if I open a file explorer, something like this, okay, I opened a file explorer. So I can see the list of files here. Okay, but Linux is a command line operating system. Windows also, you open a folder, you see the list of files by default. But Linux, you don't see. So Linux, you don't see the files and directories on the command line by default, and wherever you're in, does not matter. You're somewhere in the system. Okay, so it is not showing you, by the way. So that is where what we're going to do is we're going to execute a command for finding out the things, and the command is ls command. If you just give ls command, it will just show you what all the files are there. That's it. You need to execute a command to get that information. Now you can see these are the files you are having it. Now in Linux, there will be some hidden files also. Windows also, you have this hidden file concept. Okay. So Windows hidden files. Okay. So in Windows also, you have this concept. You can go to the properties of a file. You can right click and, you can change the properties of the file to hidden. Okay. And after that, you can go to the some options on the folder and you can click on somewhere. Okay. So then you can see this somewhere in the folder options, you'll be able to get an option to, get the hidden files as well. Okay. So there's an option that exclusively you need to choose show hidden files, folders and drives. So then it will show you. Okay. So mouse is all multiple clicks. Okay. So, but whereas Linux is simply a command, by the way, but if I want to get the hidden files, then ls hyphen capital A. Capital A is for to show the hidden files. Now you see the bit more information. Previously, you're seeing little less information. Now you see more files. That means there are many hidden files and hidden files are there, and you're getting them. Okay. Now, also, if you want to have the information, a little bit more information, now let's say even my file explorer also, I have certain views, by the way, here. Yeah. So I have certain view here. Okay. The view is showing as a list. You can show as icons. These are like this, or else show as a columns like this. Okay. Some view of this guy. Okay. Now this list view, we are actually having file name. When is the date it modified? What is the size of the file? I mean, what is the kind of the file? Something like that, right? So Mac OS is showing in its own format. Now ls also can show you little long list of information about that. ls-l, it will show you some permissions. What is this permissions? You will learn in some day in this week only, and some how many references in the hard disk, and some permissions, and what is the size of the file. So this is a 0 size file, and when is the last time this file has been modified. So that information also it is being shown here. Okay, so this is what you are getting. Okay, so ls hyphen. Now, if I want to get the long list, even for normal files and hidden files, so then you can just go and give ls-l. You can combine multiple options also. Okay, you can work that way. So now you can see them. So whenever you are in any directory, by the way, so if you just want to execute, if you want to execute, or if you want to know the list of files, then ls is the command. ls-l is actually going to give you the list of file view in a list, by the way, so that you'll come to know about more information about that file. And as well as -a is to get the hidden, get the hidden files. And these options can be combined also. LA, AL. Okay, you can do that. ls can understand what you're looking for. It gives the same option. Okay. So individually also you can give. Individually is better for a beginner, by the way. Easy to understand that -a is a different option. -L is a different option. So we have both the options. All right. So this is about ls command and its options that we wanted to know from ls command for our purpose. ls may be having 100 options. I don't bother. So we will just know the options, okay, so which are generally widely used for our requirement purpose, and these are the ones. And like I always mentioned, so when there is something need come into picture, you should be in position to read it. Now I wanted to go with and read something about ls command. So man space ls, you type it, you get it. Okay, manual page of ls. How to use ls man page. You buy a product, you get a manual page, right? The same way ls command manual page, man ls, you type in Google, you get it, all the different options that you have. Okay, so that is what about the Linux ls command. All right, so any questions? So there's a question on the chat that, okay, so there is some color for SSH. Why is it? We'll go there. That's fine. Any questions? It is same procedure. You need to raise your hand. I'll come to you. I'm not able to hear you, Arjit. Moving on. Yeah. Go ahead, Kush.
Okay. Regarding ls command, would you be able to demos like if I wanted to find any file on a specific pattern or something, how would we can do that through ls?
You want to get files with certain pattern.
Certain pattern or something like
Come.
yeah.
Later, I mean, as a part of this one, you will
Huh.
come.
Okay, okay, okay. So it will be coming in next session. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Yeah. You need to unmute and talk, Manoj.
Hi, Ravi. Good morning. Like in Linux, we have different flavors like Debian, Ubuntu, and Red Hat something. It's a similar commands or it could be a different, probably.
It will be different, by the way. But someone was
Okay.
asking yesterday, and this question is a kind of way it is answered yesterday already. So here, when there is a Unix operating system where this majority of these commands were there, and so there is a GNU guy who is actually starting something against Unix, and they were rewriting the Unix operating system, and many of the tools has been rewritten, and the GNU and the Linux Torvalds has joined, and it is GNU Linux. Now the OS wherever you see, okay, uname -a if I give, so it will show that this is a GNU Linux. Now Ubuntu also, you go in, let's say this is an Ubuntu OS, and here also if I give uname -a, okay, it is also GNU Linux. This guy also uses GNU Linux. Now the
Okay.
answer is, okay, so now a lot of things these two guys has, I mean, whoever is GNU Linux, they inherit the same things, by the way. Plus the vendor will come, okay, Red Hat vendor or Debian vendor. And now the vendor command comes into picture. Red Hat has its own vendor commands. Debian has its own vendor commands. So the answer is yes and no, by the way. So some commands will be same, some commands will not be same.
Okay.
I'm not able to hear you, Kushu.
Yeah, yeah. Pratik. So, can you go to this screen again, where we have the commands? Okay. So here we have some this roles. So can we talk about this, or like that will also come later in the next
Yeah.
session?
All upcoming topics. So let's stick to the context all the time.
Okay. Okay.
So to reach our destination as well. I mean, like, so when the topic is completed, always, okay, so in the current topic, you have any questions, you can always ask. And something will come, and definitely there is a week time. So we'll definitely go through something. Okay. If not go through, also make a note. Okay. And you have a lab sessions, by the way. So please feel free to ask. And or else usually at the end of the session, you can also ask so that we can able to, utilize the time in a better way.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, since the point came in, I would always suggest you to start writing some note. You have a question, please make down a note. Okay, this is a very important thing that you should do it, by the way, because over a period of time, okay, so maybe sometimes you get a beautiful thoughts, beautiful questions as well. Okay, but you will forget immediately. So whenever you have something, at least try to make it note somewhere. Okay, so always keep your questions, so with you. So over a period of time, when you get matured, so you recheck those particular questions. Those will get answered by yourself itself. Sometimes it's not getting answered. So please, okay, so try to, try to wait for maybe if the topic is already completed. Please raise your question, in the sessions itself. Maybe end of the sessions, I usually give some time so you can raise the questions. Or else lab sessions are there. You can discuss very freely, not an issue. So this practice, but don't be shy on taking the questions, writing the questions. Don't be lazy of not writing the questions again. So it's about laziness only, not shyness again. So people, so some practices will, small practices will make you the things very, um, I mean, will make the things, very much successful, in fact, actually. Okay. So it's my suggestion is start making a note of your questions when you have something. All right. So yeah. Make a digital notes as much as possible, not the physical notes again, I would say. Okay. I know I also like the physical notes, but digital notes will help you in such a way that, for you, searching is important, is easier, organizing is easier. Okay. So we can organize by topic and things like that. Okay. So try to make digital note as much as possible, not the physical note, not pen and paper. Try to use some sort of a Word document from Google. Okay, try to organize the things better way. You can search and so organize it in a better way. All right, going back to the actual topics. The next one which we have is finding out the where are you. Now finding out where are you, by the way. So where are you is like something like, so you are inside the operating system. You are inside the operating system, and in this operating system, where are you right now? Okay, so that is what we're talking about. Where are you? So you want to know where am I? Okay, I just got the prompt, and if I don't know where I'm in, so then pwd command will help you. So it is telling me I'm in the /root. That means slash is a root directory we already talked about. Plus ROOT folder name is also there. ROOT is an administrator user we talked about, right? And that user is actually also holding one directory, so which is ROOT, and you are in that particular directory. You logged into that user, and automatically you will be as that particular user home directory. Root has its own home directory, which is /ROOT, and you're in that particular location somewhere. Okay, you logged in as a normal user, you'll be in somewhere. Okay, so that's how it is going to be. The next one is okay, if you want to switch from one directory to another directory, so then navigating the directory cd command will come into picture. Now, if I want to go to the root of the directory, so cd/, now pwd, I'm under slash. And do ls, you can see multiple things. Now, maybe let's say cd bin. Okay, so cd bin. Now, someone was asking about, okay, so hey, you had a blue color. What is the blue color? So blue color denotes, it's a directory, by the way. Okay, so sorry. So cd/ and do ls-l. So blue color denotes a directory. Doesn't mean that you stick every blue color as a directory. By default, if no one touches the color, it's actually going to be a blue color. Okay, I can go and modify this color also, but don't stick with the colors, by the way. Yes, if I think no one will modify. Okay, so but however, if someone modifies also, just do a cross verification. Now ls-l command will help you whether it is a directory or a normal file. Now you can just go here. The starting character of ls-l output shows whether it is a D, then this is a directory. Okay, shows, then this is a directory. Okay, if it shows ls-l of /root, if I give, I'm giving /root, and here you got hyphens, some files, by the way. Hyphen stands for a file, D stands for directory, and there are total 7 types of files. If you are interested, I would suggest you take a look sometime. Okay, 7 types of files, 7 types of files in Linux. Okay, you necessarily need not to know everything, by the way, but if you are really curious, there are 7 type of files. Now, 2 file types we generally use in Windows also, file and directory. What else you need to do? In Windows also you have more. Okay, so if you want to know, please read it out. Okay, and you will come to know. Now, the D stands for directory and hyphen stands for file, by the way. Okay, so that's how it is. And now, yeah, so coming to the cd command back again. So you can go with pwd and ls. I can see that bin is some blue color, and it's not blue color even, it is in fact another color. Okay, but it's a directory, or let's go with some blue colors only. Let's stick with that. So but other colors you'll come to know again, maybe we'll talk again. So here cd, let's say boot, I'm having. Okay, so pwd, so I'm inside this directory. So I'm under slash, and inside that again I was in boot directory. And even actually the Linux by default will not show this path, by the way. I just customize this prompt to show this. So this is, you'll find out maybe in my training. I'll give you some customized image, and where I always prefer to give this. Okay, so just to avoid the pwd commands all the time. So now I really no need to give the pwd command, because the prompt itself is telling me, by the way, right? I'm in this directory. Windows, actually it is actually coming from Windows thought process only. So Windows have this approach. Now if you see this, by the way, you want to execute any command, it will show you the path, where are you, by the way. It's more or less inspired from the Windows approach only. Okay, I always give the path. There's nothing harm, by the way. Okay, so showing here, so for me, I can consciously know that which path I am in. Okay, I need to always execute a pwd command to find it out. For an example, I take to uncustomized operating system, this one. Now cd slash, where am I? It is still showing the same prompt. Cd slash bin, where am I? I'm still showing the same prompt. I always need to execute pwd to find it out. Okay, so this is the default prompts. They won't give you anything by default. You have to customize as per your need. And I just customized it, by the way. Okay, so I always show this particular path. Now do ls. Okay, so rlcd slash var pwd. So do ls, so cd adm. Okay, it is showing the path, by the way. So you know to really go and execute the pwd commands. All right. So this is how cd command is going to help you in going from one path to another path. And also sometimes, okay, you want to come to your parent directory. For an example, I'm in /var adm. Who is my parent? /var is my parent. So rather than giving cd /var and all completely, what you can also do is a shortcut cd dot 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 in Linux denotes your parent directory. Who is parent /var? You go to /var. Now again, if I give cd dot dot, who is parent of /var? /. So you'll go to /. Like this, dot dot can go and help you. Or dot dot denotes parent directory. You are asking, I'll want to go to parent to your cd command. That doesn't mean that dot dot works only for cd command. It works for other commands also. You are denoting your parent directory. Dot dot denotes parent directory. Okay. And also now wherever you are in the system, you want to reset your path and you want to go to your home directory, simply give cd enter. It will take you to your home directory. Whichever is your home directory, it will take to you there. Okay, so this is how So this is how we are going to deal with the switching the directories between one directory to another directory by using cd command. And also you want to know about which directory you are in, pwd command. But this prompt customization doesn't show you your home directory. So it just shows the symbol. That symbol denotes that you are in a your home directory. Okay. So if you are in any other directory, it will show you the prompt. It's just designed that way. All right. So that's all about cd and pwd commands. Any questions? All right. Taking it as no. And moving on, the next one, how to create the files. In Windows, how do you create a file? Right click on new, and we create a text document, right? Create new, and you have different type of documents, maybe a text document, maybe a folder. Maybe you'll find out if it's something customized. Also, like, you'll find out you want to create an Excel sheet, Windows Word, something like that. You'll right click and do something, right? So just if you don't have if you don't have Microsoft Office installed or any other customized software installed, you have a brand new operating system, and if you want to create a file, right click new and you can only create a text documents only, right? So here also it is going to be the same thing, and that text file is actually going to be a zero size file. Okay, so that is what you are going to get it in Windows. Zero size new files, Windows. Okay, when you create any files, by the way, so it is going to be zero size. I don't know. This is a folder anyhow. This is a folder 0 bytes, but this is not Linux. Sorry, this is not Windows. Screenshot. Maybe something like this. So you can see this. If you create an empty, if you create a file, it is going to be some 0 size file like this, 0 bytes. You'll see. Okay, right click new, and you try to create a file name. It gets a 0 size file. Linux also it is same thing. You create a file, you get a 0 size file. Okay, and how to create a file? So there are many ways to create a files. There are many commands, many ways to also create a file. But we go with the best out of what we have, and maybe widely used approach, whatever it is. Okay, so here you can use by using touch command. Okay, so touch is a command which will help you in creating a file.txt. So now this file has been created, ls. Now you can see this file.txt. Now very important one that you need to understand. Okay, here there's a very important one that you need to understand. In Linux, there is no file extensions. Extensions are given only for your user understanding. Windows, you have extensions. Linux, you don't have extensions, but still you give extensions is only for you to understand what kind of file it is. Okay, and this is the one of the major reason that Linux goes as a virus-free kind of a thing. Okay, whereas Windows is always prone to have viruses, but not Linux. Okay, the approach is very simple: extensions. Because in Windows, you try to double click the file to open an application, isn't it? You double click on a PDF so that it will open the PDF reader software and it will open this file there. So that's the approach of Windows. But Linux, you don't do that. So Linux, you always open the application. First, I'll open a PDF reader. And then from there, I'm going to click on open and choose a file to open. Okay, this way is actually going to be a virus free. How? Very simple, by the way. If you're double clicking on a file and you're thinking that that file is something like, so shows as a like PDF extension, or shows like a, so text extension and things like that. But those are not the actual files. You double click that file, those becomes an executable in the operating system, and you're actually executing a file every time. Okay, and that means it has a capability to get onto the system and run whatever it wanted to run. okay, which is a very risk. Maybe the modern Windows operating systems and all, they are coming with a Defender and all. They will detect the files and things like that is there. So I mean, the scope has been reduced, but however, okay, natively you can create virus, by the way. Maybe in many of the movies also you might have seen, like, so hacking and all. So they might send you one file over email. You download the file, you double click the file, you thought it is opening that file, and it gets onto the virus. Things like that. Okay, so this is how it happens, by the way. Right. So that's okay. Let's come back to the actual line of our discussion. By the way, Linux does not have any extension, but still we give extensions. Okay, only for understanding what type of file it is. And OS is not considering this as an extension. What is a file name? This is the whole file name. What is the file name of this? This is a whole file name. What is the file name of this one? Is a whole file name. There is no extension concept. .txt is also literally the file name. Okay, so that's how it is going. All right, how do you create the file? By using touch command. And how do you create a directory? So creating a touch file is an empty file, and creating a directory also empty directory it will create. So mkdir demo. So do ls. So you got a demo directory. Okay, and again another important case. In Linux OS, so the important takeaway is file names are case sensitive. I think I already mentioned about that. So the demo is different and capital D demo is different. However, in Windows both are same. Okay, so that's about how do you start creating your files and how do you create your directories. Anyhow, how to create a file with some content and all is the next thing. Is upcoming topics. Okay, that's how you can do that. But otherwise, this is the one. And if you want to create some directory in some path, now let's say, mkdir/var/adm/demo, you have to give the full path. Now cd/var/adm do ls, you can see the demo directory has been created here. Okay, so you can create any path also if you give the full path. Since you know the paths, you can do that. Or if you don't give any path, it just uses your current working directory, wherever you are in, present working directory. All right. So that's about touch and mkdir commands. Any questions?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Raghu. This is Suhas here. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, so for extension part, okay. So this extension part, what you explained. So what about it's .zz, .tar or .jar? So how it's applied there?
Those are also not mandatory.
Okay.
Okay, but the application may be looking for an extension. Okay, if it is .tar only, I will consider that as a tar. But for operating system, it does not matter.
Okay.
It's only for the program. But Windows is not that way. Windows OS itself is actually extension matter.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not able to hear you funny. Moving on.
Yeah. Hi Raghu, this is Ashwini.
Yeah.
We will give ls command and we will get the output. In that output, that is the file name, file.txt is that is the file name. Before that, anaconda.post, that one is there, na? That one is what?
It's a file.
That is also file.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever we are getting that output, we will give ls command that all are file names only.
Yeah, whether it is a file or directory. We talked about 7 types in Linux. It could be
Yeah.
any.
But we will give making directory or anything. That file name, first 2 rows are same like that only. Next 2 rows are only changing.
Screen
That's
is
why I'm
squeezing. Hold on. So my screen is squeezed, by the way. Okay.
yeah.
So that's where it is adjusting. If I have something like this, it will get it in one line.
Okay. But first 4 rows are same only. Remaining demo file.txt we are giving na, that only are they are changing. That's why.
No, if you're talking about 2 rows,
Yeah.
2 rows, because my screen size is limited, it is giving that. Now I have given ls, it is giving everything in single line only.
Yeah, okay. But after Ankunda post log, after that file demo file.txt we are creating na, after that only file names are changing. Before it is not changing. That one I am.
File names are changing. I did not got that.
No, we are creating making a directory, demo directory, and also file name file.txt we are
Mhm.
creating a file now.
Mhm.
They are getting that output in the after Anaconda post log, after only we are getting that output.
It's
Before why
alphabetical
we
order. It
yeah,
starts with A, first file.
okay.
A, first file. After that D, after that F, O,
Okay,
S.
before sample is what? For starting in the sample and raw sample.
Yes, S sample stands for yes, alphabet yes, and O. After O only A, B, C, D, S will come, right?
Okay, first also one sample is there.
But this is capital S, not same.
Okay.
Search ABC, LS. You get ABC first.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? So I have a question in the chat. So asking, is the commands also case sensitive? Yes, Linux, everything is a case sensitive, and capital LS will not work. It's a command not. So in Linux, everything is case sensitive. Just keep that way. Everything is case sensitive.
Hi, Raghu.
Yeah. Your side, it is echoing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just want to check that. After the session, so we want to practice in our laptop. So what exactly we need in the laptop? Like we need to install anything, and or else we just go through all the URLs. I mean, the files you just posting in the chat or something.
Yeah. So you simply open the killer code and you practice here. If any time some installation need to be done, I'll explain it. Until then, don't worry.
Okay, got it.
All right. So the next one is how to remove some files and directories, by the way. Okay. So we just know about how to create it. Now how to remove files and directories. RM command will help you. So let's say RM sample if I give, and it is going to remove the sample file. It is asking, do you want to remove really? Like Windows also prompt for yes or no, right? So here if you type Y, it is yes, and no, it is no. Okay. So Y enter, that means the file sample is gone. Now RM, maybe let's say ABC. Okay. If I don't want to remove it, no. If I don't want to remove, I would not execute the RM command, right? So, but still a validation. That's it. Now the file is still there, ABC. Now you don't want this prompt. Of course, if I'm executing a RM command, it is anyhow deletion. So why do you need to have a prompt all the time? So that's where rm-f can help you force. You don't ask me yes or no. I know what I'm doing. -f force option I'm using. So you do that and it's gone. But always keep in mind that, okay, so be careful while you're removing the files, as it delete the content of the file, and retrieving the data is almost not possible. So that's where be careful. Okay, when you're doing it, do it consciously. That's it. So the next is how do you remove a directory by the way? Now rm, what is the demo directory you have? Now it is telling that cannot remove demo because it is a directory. Now, if I want to remove a directory, still rm command only, but you have to use another option. You are telling rm command, yes, I'm removing a directory. Go ahead and remove it. And again, ask for SR. I'm giving no, you don't want that because I want you to forcefully delete that -f. Now the directory is gone. The directory is gone and the files inside the directory also will be gone. So not only that particular directory. So that's where, okay, you have to be a bit careful when you're actually deleting the things. All right. So that's about rm command. And those file directories also gone. Any questions? All right. So the next one is, okay, copy some files and directories to some place. Okay. Now in Linux, there are many ways again you copy. There are many commands to do that. So cp is one of the native command that you can use to copy the files and directories. The same thing. Now let's say cp, I wanted to copy file.txt to some location, maybe /tmp. Okay, so it copied into that location. Now ls of /tmp, you will see file./tmp some path. Okay, you copy it to that path. Or else, okay, you want to copy here itself. So cp file.txt as new file.txt, something like that. Now this file has been copied to the new file.txt and you will see new file.txt. You want to copy here itself, you can copy. You want to copy to some other path, you can copy. Simple as that. Now mkdir demo, okay. So touch demo/demo.txt file. Okay, now ls of demo, you can see the demo.txt file. Now cp demo to /tmp, if I give, now it is not able to copy the directory. Okay, so now what you can do is again the same option what you used in rm command -r option for recursive. We call it as recursive. -r stands for recursive. It's for folder we call it as recursive file, and that's where -r coming into picture, and -r, okay, demo to /tmp. Okay, now it is done. Now ls of /tmp, you got demo directory. And even if I go for demo, all the files inside that also has been copied. There's only one file and there's only one file, and then you're seeing that particular file has been copied. So this is how you can copy the files when you actually copy. Now the question is, when you're actually copying the files, like let's say new.txt, what is that? File.txt. Now I'm giving /tmp. If the file is already there, then what you will get? You'll get warning. Do you want to overwrite the file? Okay, yes, to overwrite. Okay, no to not to overwrite. Now this override option makes sense, right? So the same way, if you want to really don't want this override option, you want force, cp has force option. You can use that. Okay, I'm leaving now. All right, so this is how you can copy the files. So now the copy is nothing but copy and paste. Now in Windows, it is going to be right click copy, right click paste, right? So the next thing we have is, okay, move files and directories. Okay, now cut and paste, move files and directories. Now cut and paste, kind of an operation. So if I have some file, okay, I want to cut from here and move to another place. Okay, so let's say move new file.txt to /tmp. Do ls, you don't see that new file.txt anymore here. Okay, so now ls of /tmp, you will see that file actually moved to there. Okay, you moved the file inside that location. Okay, so that's how it is. Now you can also move the directories also. mv demo, okay, mv demo to, let's say, /opt, because /tmp is already having it. So /opt ls. The directory of this one is completely moved. So some path I moved. So you can see this. Right? So this is how you can move the files and directories. But for moving, it does not really require -r option. Okay. That's how it is. And the next one which you have here is the same move command can be used to rename the things also. ls. Now mv file.txt, I want to rename it as a file.txt. You are thinking that is a renaming, but you're literally moving to another file, by the way. Okay, so it's a literal move, by the way. It's a moving. That operation is also called as move, moving only. All right, so move, and if the target does not exist, this is a, let's say this is considered as a source and this is considered as a target. If the target does not exist, then it is going to be a rename. We have renamed everything. Okay, so that's how you have these options. Source file and destination file. And if the destination file does not exist, is a rename. Okay, if the destination does exist, that means if it is a path, by the way, it will move to that particular file. And if the destination exists, it will rename, I mean, it will override again. And like, let's say mv file.txt. If I give sample, it will ask you, do you want me to move the file and override the existing file? Yes means yes. And okay, file.txt is gone. It's been renamed as sample. Maybe with a little hands-on, you will be able to understand. Okay, so the beginning, even Windows also, the same confusions will be there, right? So Windows, at least the file name exists, it is automatically going to create a file with the same file name, but with in brackets 1, 2, something like that, it will create. But here it will override. So you have to be a bit careful about it. And also, you want to work as a professional, by the way. So shortcuts is very important. Now you see this, I cleared the screen. So there is a shortcut for this. So now while you're working on, you want to make your work faster. Okay, shortcuts on the shell is very important. So you have some shortcuts here. So at least learn these particular shortcuts. These are very widely used regular options. Not only reading this, and start practicing this every day. Whether you need it or you don't need it, also start practicing it, and you'll be able to learn the things a bit faster. Okay, so that's about copy and mv command. Any questions? Maybe it is a bit faster, it looks like. Okay, so once you do hands-on, okay, maybe after that you do hands-on after the session, you will start getting the clarity. Okay, and if you have, and mostly you might get any questions also. Okay, so for those questions also, you can start attending the lab sessions, by the way. Let me, before going there, any questions on CP and MV command? Okay. what it will come, 3:30 a.m. 3:30 to 11:30. Yeah. All right. So yeah, if you have any questions also, you can start using, maybe after the session, you will get some questions. Okay. So then you can start reaching that. That's okay. And this link, please bookmark this particular link. So this link you'll find out in the YouTube recording also from today. I'm keeping it chat once again. So the topics wise also, I think people are not asking much questions. I'm mostly done as well. So tomorrow we wanted to talk about further commands, what we have here. Okay. And like I mentioned, every one of you should be creating your AWS account. If you already have AWS account, so please use the same one, no issues. And if you don't have AWS account, so this is a sign up link and this is a sign up video. Please follow that, do sign up, get your account ready, okay, so that we can start using it. Okay, until that 1 or 2 days, just follow the killer code and practice here itself. Okay, yeah, that's all. That's all from my side for today. Maybe less questions. We had enough time. Any questions? Anything? You can go ahead now. I see already one hand. Yes, Nazrina. Your voice is not coming. Yes, Venkat.
Hello.
Yeah.
Raghu, I need to know one thing. Like in a project, we'll be having a one DevOps engineer, or I mean, if you're really into the one complete project, I mean one project, there'll be an how many members on the team? Like in the DevOps engineers, only a one team, only a one member, or the two or three?
Depends upon the size, by the way, size of the project. Okay. So on an average, you can consider if there are 5 developers, 2 QAs, maybe 1 engineer, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually, if you go with agile numbers, by the way, it should not cross more than 10 number. Okay.
Yeah.
So 10 number means 5, 6 developers will be there, two QAs or 2, 3 QAs, 1 engineer is fine, and 1 business analyst, 1 PM. So this is what is the general agile structure. Now, if you're scaling that more, you may need more. Or maybe that project is infra heavy. Maybe in that case, maybe 2 engineers. It depends. By the
Okay. Um, I mean, is DevOps engineers will be code?
Will be, sorry.
He will be coding the DevOps, I mean developer side. Whether he will be coding on the developer side, I was asking like
Developer will code for application development.
application development. Okay.
We code for infra development. We also
Okay. Okay. Mostly we'll be using the AWS, right? For the infra.
yes, complete it is AWS.
Okay. 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 Raghu. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raghu. At the end of the day, how many projects we will complete?
One big project.
Only one project.
So if you go to an engineering world, by the way, a person, like let's say there is an engineer, civil engineer. Okay, let's understand this way. A civil engineer actually who has built 50-floor building. He done only one project in his life. Okay, but he built only 50-floor building. But whereas another engineer is there, he has built 50 projects, but everything is one floor only.
Okay.
Okay, so I will consider one project guy is a serious guy. Okay, in terms of knowledge. We apply the same philosophy here as well. Now you take 10 projects, by the way, with simple hello world applications versus one big project. One big project guy only will have more knowledge than the 10 projects guy.
Mm.
So, in addition to the question which Sai has asked,
Your voice is very low, Kush.
sorry, let me increase my voice. Is it okay now?
Still, I think low only.
I have. Okay, is it okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Just a thought comes in my mind when Sai has asked one question. So I thought I can just discuss. So myself, I am working as a software developer. I am working in Java. So what we have, what like in terms of AWS and other clouds, what we used to have usually deploying the application and debugging the logs. Initially, I have come through like little bit of these two tasks only with the cloud. So like when once we will go through this whole project, so is that does that mean like it will be I'll like what will be my profession will be in that case? Like I'm an engineer, I am having a DevOps knowledge as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, like I have just thought in my mind, so I think I can discuss with you, like for what kind of role I can apply in future.
That's a choice, right? So you can go either
Okay.
of the side. And I mean, other than
Mm.
startups, by the way, you may not get I mean, if it is any project which is with some standard revenue generally,
Uh-huh.
they don't allow you to do both the works, by the way, right? So as a developer, you do development work. Now, let's say, or an engineer, you do the engineer work. Though I know development, or though you know engineering, but you go for a bigger project, by the way, your role will be cut down. Okay, you have to stick to one side only generally. Your thought maybe works in the startup mode, but every project may not be startup, right? So that's where
And
you'll be on the one side of the things, but knowing the other side of the things, you will know what is happening. It's an advantage. That's it.
because I have asked this question because in like I am preparing for the interview currently, and many of the time when JD comes to me now, they are asking about the cloud technology mandatory. Like you should have a knowledge of AWS or GCP
Yeah.
and this Lambda and everything.
Yeah.
So that's the point where I got confused. Like if I am a developer, then why they are asking us to these things in depth and everything. So I thought maybe I can discuss with you, like what is the industry currently, like what industry wants currently.
Okay, then I wrongly understand the context of your question then. Okay, like let's say you're a developer and your application is completely hosted on cloud, let's say completely end to end on cloud, then you also as a developer also you should know cloud, by the way. Because while you're developing the things, you'll be having a dev environment. So dev environment, you are the owner and you do the things end to end. Not the provisioning part, but at least after provisioning, let's say the same answer like you mentioned, like Lambda. Now, in order to develop a Lambda, you should have an understanding of how AWS works, by the way, and how Lambdas works in AWS. And you're developing for Lambda. So that's where you should have the knowledge on development side of the services in Amazon. Whereas my knowledge is to provision the Lambda, let's say. Okay. But your knowledge is writing the code for Lambda to work. And for testing, and anyhow, like, so you do generally like, compile the code and all in your local laptop. Since it is a cloud, you can't do that in your laptop, by the way. You can't simulate it, right? So that's why you have to know about the cloud and you have to start dealing with the cloud.
So are we going to touch something like these concepts as well? Like as you already mentioned that we are going to write some the scripts to automate something like using the whatever mentioned in the syllabus. So is that related to that? Like, are we going to touch on that piece in that going forward session?
Can you come again?
Like you say, na, like for Lambda, I am not aware of Lambda. So sorry if I take it wrong, or like correct me if I'm saying it wrong. So you said that we need to write some coding to integrate the Lambda, right? So are we going to cover that, or like it will be like I'm working in Java, so I need to integrate it through Java only? You will going to teach us like what is the concept of Lambda and these things.
No, we are an engineer. We provision the infra. Okay, Lambda considered as an infra. I'll provision the infra. So what is inside Lambda does not matter to me because that's an application functional code that should come in.
Oh,
Say,
okay.
I can also create a Lambdas, by the way, maybe for infra-related automation. I'll also write the code inside Lambda if it is for my purpose. Yes.
Okay. So that will be a application specific, what requirement I wanted to cover in Lambda. So according to that, I'll write my code or whatever script will be there. So that I as a developer, I need to identify that, correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? No questions, feel free to drop. And if you have any questions also, please feel free to ask. Anything related to the program, maybe people has joined just yesterday, today. If you have any questions related to the training program also, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Suhas.
Yeah, so in this Killer Coda page, we can see there are two playground, Linux administration topics and Linux basic.
Yeah.
So these two are, means what is the difference between these two? Because I tried to launch one, I am able to get Ubuntu OS only.
No, we started with basics. So you need to go with basics.
No, but yes, in basic I launched, but the OS which is in launching it's Ubuntu. So is it okay to follow Ubuntu?
No. It will come actually. So just ensure you are doing it properly.
But we have to just launch Linux basic, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Further, all the process will be auto set, right?
Yes, of course.
I did that, but I could see, it was Ubuntu OS. There.
So you are able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So click on that. So it comes, it came Ubuntu, and after that it is doing something. You just wait until it completes. So it is bringing the Red Hat OS or Red Hat family. So for you also it will happen the same thing. If not, refresh it properly. Once again, it will come.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Raghu, where can we find the recordings, Raghu?
So the recording links is shared to you either over WhatsApp, or else the link which you are joining should be having it.
Sorry, can you please come again? Sorry.
It is been already shared to you over WhatsApp.
Okay, on the WhatsApp we did not receive anything. That's what.
Okay, just ping me at least what is the link that you are using to join this session. I can help you with that.
Okay, one second.
same thing, like the Sai asked the question, same thing happening for me. So should I change my number while starting for the call? Like because I am not getting the daily updates.
No,
You
daily
already
updates is not there. So here
like,
we have, you don't worry.
uh-huh. Yesterday you supposed to share some link on the WhatsApp chat.
It was
na?
not sent. It was not
It
sent.
was not.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I mentioned, it is already there in the YouTube video description. Go through that and you'll find out.
Okay. Okay.
Raghu shared the link, Raghu, in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. So there is no recordings, right? This tally link directly. So just, however you got this particular link, at least over WhatsApp, I'm hoping, correct?
Oh, yes, Raghu.
Yeah, just reply to there and you'll get it, the information.
Okay.
Yes.
Hi, Raghu.
Yes, Ryan.
Hi. As you know, artificial intelligence is one of the most trending technology right now in the tech industry. So is there any possibility that the DevOps engineers roles or responsibility can be replaced by artificial intelligence? And just, yeah.
So it's a very tough question also, by the way, because like, I mean, do you know what is artificial intelligence?
It's kind of, I'm not an expert guy, but
Just
it's
in your
kind
own,
of,
because since you use a word artificial intelligence, what is your
yeah.
understanding of artificial intelligence?
Now, as you say, the chat GPT and everything is a trending technology.
ChatGPT is a GPT technology. It's nowhere related to the AI, by the way.
Okay.
So that is not called as AI. AI means what? For an example, I am completely wrong also here. Okay. It's my understanding. I raise the same question many times, by the way, in many forums, at least in my company. What is artificial intelligence? Many people comes with many of the answers. Everyone have their own view. There is no crystal clear answer that, so this is artificial intelligence. Now, if let's say you go to let's say you go back decade, by the way, right? So now you're typing something wrong in the Windows Word, they will give an auto correction. Do you consider that as an artificial intelligence? The answer is yes. Correct? Because it is intelligently, understanding what you're trying to write. And it is telling that you have written a spelling mistake. You have written, so that itself is an artificial intelligence, isn't it? So, decade back, actually, while while that artificial intelligence of correcting you the things has made you to lose the job or taken your roles and responsibilities, the answer is yes. Now, whoever does the correction of grammar and all, whoever does the screening of the message, maybe he lost the job. But however, on the other side, okay, you improved yourself, right? So that means you don't really dependent on another person. Okay. So you don't really dependent on another person for doing some job. So where you can do and you can empower yourself, right? Now this AI can be really looked at in that context only, like whatever you call it as AI, by the way, it only enhances your life only. Okay, it's not like it's going to change everything. Now 100 years back or maybe 200 years back, when there was no motor, there was no electricity, things are different. When the electricity came in, now you just empowered, right? Now let's say you go back 40 years back, so I still remember that the government employees, in at least in India, by the way, protesting that, so when they are digitalizing, by the way, when banks want to digitalize or government want to digitalize the banks, I still remember the protests. We used to get very good holidays also that times, 30 years back, something like that. So they used to do a lot of protests saying like, we don't want to digitalize, like computer will kill us. But today, I don't think so computer has killed us, but it increased the things at a scale, by the way, right? So, it just looked that way only. The AI always should be considered as your helping hand only. So should not be considered as a problem. Okay, as long as you're moving, but you're stopping somewhere, yes, that will still move on. Someone will be replaced by you. That's how it is going to be. At least I'm looking that way. But what is AI is still a question. At least I don't have a crystal clear answer. But generally, it is seeing like, so what machine is doing is an AI. Yes, it is AI. All the time, it is AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just my view only. I can be wrong.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now GPTs today, like, so only one thing we are seeing is GPTs only at this today. The friction is only around GPTs, and GPTs is really doing the super great job. I don't think so. Okay. Now whatever the demos you see, like if you stop watching YouTube, your life is happy. Okay. So these all fancy videos of Hello World and all, they'll come and show this is what it is. These are all prototypes only at this point of time. Okay. So there is no crystal clear that can works at a scale. By the way, there's a lot of challenges. Okay. And it takes time, by the way. I mean, machines is still not in a position that it can still think like a human. Okay. So human is far way beyond the way the machine works, right? So at least the mind, by the way. So that's where I don't think so that worry. I think you can watch this video yesterday, last week, I think. Last week, this week, there was a video launch. I mean, the Bill Gates has given an interview in India, or maybe it has done in India. Like he has talked about certain things about AI as well. Like, so he was clearly telling that, so there's nothing to worry, by the way. It's not going to happen very soon as well. Yeah. So like I'm not seeing anything that AI is really helping me in my day-to-day life. I've been doing the job, by the way, but AI is really making a shape the difference. I don't think so. At this point of time, tomorrow anything can happen. Yeah, so I don't want to be there. All right. I think too much explanation.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Raghu.
Yeah.
Hey, Raghu, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, so whatever you are covering part of this course is going to be suffice for attempting AWS and Kubernetes certifications. Hello?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, the answer is yes.
All right, okay, thanks, Raghu. And the previous questions, right? So are you covering any basics of AI ops?
Hey, there is
Or,
nothing ops. So is
yeah,
there another
we have been
application?
hearing that buzzword, nowadays in several projects in my organization also. I just want to check.
See, before
AI
actually
based.
worrying, by the way, I would always suggest you to, so before hearing the gossips, always try to start reading the things. What is that? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that is always very important. So if you start closing the eyes and thinking that everything is so difficult, it will be like that only. You can't actually, you have to open the eyes somewhere, start reading it. Okay.
Mhm.
So don't just go with the gossips of some person talking about something, or don't listen to me also. Start reading it. Then you understand that particular context. What is AI ops, by the way? What is that they will do, by the way? Now, AI applications is also some applications. We are talking about web applications. Maybe like hosting those applications, by the way, is AI ops. That's it. Okay. So that's where I don't think so. Like that's a super
Okay.
trend term, by the way. It's just an ops role, by the way. End of the day, right? So in
Okay.
fact, actually, if the AI ops is the real AI, you should get it like no ops, by the way, not the AI ops. Okay, that means AI also being driven. One important thing, actually, one recent video. Now, even this video really help you, by the way. So there is this AI, whatever you're talking about, so it has been done 300 years back. That's what people were saying. There is, what is this terminology? Automated chess machine. chessboard, 1700. This is a time some board actually. This guy mechanical truck. Okay, so this is the article that you should start reading about it, by the way, if you want to really understand the AI. And the same thing has been actually mentioned in one of the video. Recently, I went through basically like today's AI is not AI, is what someone was actually mentioning. AI is not AI. Okay, now what is now your word is actually answering that particular question. Okay, I'll find that video. I'll share it, by the way. It should be somewhere in. Okay, I should be having it somewhere. But this is the mechanical Turk is the fundamental foundation for you to understand what is AI happening in the today's market. Now, back in 1770s, so the one guy actually invented a machine saying that it can play chess with you automatically. Now everyone was thinking is a magic, but behind the scene, if you see the box, there's a person sitting inside and playing with you. Now today AI is being called at this stage. Okay, that means you're seeing AI, by the way, but behind the scene, there are many people working. He's taking Amazon example, Amazon, some retail stores that you have in US, by the way. So now that smart shopping, like you're picking up the product automatically, and automatically it will get built, by the way. But behind the scene, if you really maintain the real store, how many people is needed versus the number of people actually doing this particular operation, by the way, behind the scene, the people are more, by the way. So
I agree.
okay, that's where it's not okay. Don't worry about too much. Just watching some fancy videos and all, or hearing some gossips. You start reading it, and you will slowly gain the knowledge and context.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you in tomorrow then. Bye. Good day. Good night.